the mandates that we are given as members of this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next is Senator Okoiti Andrew, Omtatah.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to comment on this very important governance tool that is created in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. The tool is the annual address to the nation by the President, the joint sitting of the Houses by the President. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the address for this year, President Ruto paints a very visionary picture of Kenya's transformation through massive investments in irrigation, transport, and innovative financing mechanisms. Gerson quotes great leaders, and he frames this as non-negotiable steps towards food security, industrial growth, and economic empowerment or economic independence. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the rhetoric glosses over a troubling pattern of promising on infrastructure while under-delivering amid corruption scandals, fiscal recklessness, and deepening inequality. With Kenya's public debt exceeding 11 trillion, with a huge component of which is odious, cannot be traced or tied to any project, youth unemployment reaching levels that could not even be imagined, above 35%. The priorities the President presents will make the situation worse and not resolve them. And so, Mr. Speaker, the vivid picture of mega dams, boundless energy, gleaning infrastructure must not blind us. The grandeur of vision must subject itself to critical blueprint. Where is the blueprint to achieving what the President promises? Having listened to His Excellency, having read his speech, I have been struggling to see the blueprint. There is no blueprint in that speech. The speech is largely a case of wishful thinking. It ignores the present. It does not address the socioeconomic and environmental costs. And then the mirage of financing. A debt trap by another name is being given to us as a promise of a bright future. They look at privatization as the panacea. Has no basis. Privatization, we have had privatization in this country. I come from Western Kenya. We had Mumias Sugar Company, thriving, a blue chip company, fully owned by the Kenyan state, privately managed by Bukatet. Then what happened? We were told to privatize. Mumias Sugar Company was privatized. Go to Mumias today, see what is there. The company was ripped apart. We must distinguish between ownership and management. Is the problem management or is the problem ownership by the state? You have been told that KPC is going to be privatized and is in the process of being privatized. And that when they privatized Kenya Pipeline Company, more Kenyans will have an opportunity to own it. Arrant nonsense. I thought that right now, all Kenyans own KPC. When it's owned by the ministry, by the state, it's owned by every Kenyan. Where does the narrative come out that KPC, when being privatized, will now result in more Kenyans owning it? Unless we're talking about privileged and well-connected Kenyans capturing it, state capture, capturing those assets. So, I think His Excellency should have done better and given us a blueprint on exactly how he achieves what. The other thing is a debate we must address between the primacy of political action versus the determinism of the market. His Excellency cannot present the determinism of the market as a solution to a developing economy like ours. Primary action must be political action. And political action must be fashioned around the laws of the country. I didn't hear the president address the question of odious debt and how he's going to deal with it and how he's going to recover the monies that have been stolen from the public and are stashed out. Well, I didn't expect him to address odious debt because just in the recent past, through something called Nyota or whatever, an arrangement between himself and the World Bank has added 13 billion shillings to debt that has been acquired outside the constitutional procedure for incurring debt. He's bribing the population with handouts. No formula, no blueprint, no marking scheme, no way of monitoring and evaluating what is going on. Total chaos. Chaos cannot be the crucible from which you can fashion development. If we want to develop, we must imitate the developed. We must look at the critical sectors of the economy. We must look at governance. What are we spending money on? We have one of the largest governments since independence, bloated, obese, unhealthy. Too many principal secretaries, duplicious, doing nothing. When you look at the statement of actual revenue and net expenditure issues that is released by the Treasury every 21 days after the end of every month, you see a litany of abuse of our public finances that tells you there's no intention to develop this country. On the floor of this House, I've raised a statement about 19.6 billion shillings, which was spirited out or siphoned out of the consolidated fund using a vote head for consolidated finance services. Mr. Speaker, it's a very sad day for me. It was a very sad day for me sitting and listening to that speech. Look at a concept like the various funds that are being talked about, Weather Fund, the Women Fund, whatever fund, water fund, and you. You look at Article 206 of the Constitution, it tells you how to establish a fund. It must be established by an Act of Parliament. Where is the Act of Parliament establishing the Weather Fund or the Women's Fund or whatever, all these funds we have? Secondly, when these funds are set up, they cannot take money from the consolidated fund. Funds must be financed by money excluded from the consolidated fund. So we celebrate and we believe that we shall break the law to achieve progress. There is no choice between the law and development in this country. There is no choice. If we want to develop, we must follow the law. If we don't want to develop, then we break the law. There's no choice. The law and development are not mutually exclusive. The law and development are two legs upon which this nation must walk. Assuming the nation is a human being, if or four legs, if it's a four-legged animal. So, His Excellency's speech to me was simply a public relations exercise. It was simply for him to demonstrate his skills at public speaking. He speaks very well in the public, and he did well. But it was devoid of substance, devoid of a blueprint, devoid of a marking scheme. And it ignores the real economy. It talks nothing about the crisis in education and health. It praises SHA. Yes, SHA is a premium funded, you pay premiums to belong to SHA without discussing its pros and its words and all image. You have to pay a premium to access SHA. On the other hand, it's masquerading as universal health care. Mr. Speaker, across the world, beginning with the United Kingdom and most of Europe, and even this country where when you and me were kids, there was universal health care. Those days when you could get aspirin tablets branded GOK, and you walked in any clinic and you'd be treated and you go home. Universal health care can only be funded by direct taxes. Just like a road built by taxes and anybody can walk on it. Once you introduce premiums, it ceases being universal. It's only available to those who can pay. And so, continuing to fool Kenyans that we have got universal health care in this country is not acceptable. When you go to education, Article 53 of the Constitution is very clear. Every child is entitled to free and compulsory basic education. A child is anybody under 18. His Excellency runs a government that gives us fee structures. What's the fee structure? For primary schools, for secondary schools. You see our kids on the roads every day being sent home. Who is imposing these fees? Is it constitutional? His Excellency.
Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for an opportunity to comment on the State of the Nation address by His Excellency Honorable William Samoei Ruto. First, to thank Kenyans for creating the tool of the State of the Nation address, because this is an accountability tool